Good evening, everybody, or just me, whoever. Today, I'm going to talk about one of the big steps towards overcoming being an emotional abuser. This one's a little awkward. I feel like one of the first few steps, even though in the book I'm reading it kind of has it down at the fifth level, the fifth step. But the step is apologizing. Now, I don't know how many of you are comfortable going back and apologizing to exes and things of that nature, especially if you're in a current marriage or relationship. Or even how important it is to apologize and gain their forgiveness, or mend fences with them when they're maybe in a relationship of their own and you're in your own relationship, or whatever the case may be. For those of you that it's not realistic to go back and apologize to say somebody in your past that you abused, because when you do kind of discover that you're an emotional abuser, it's crazy how so many things in your life just kind of make sense. They kind of flash. I don't know about flash in front of your eyes, but they just, a million things come to mind that you're like, that was an example, that was an example, that was an example, of past occurrences where you maybe abused somebody in your past, whether it's relevant today or not, whether you care if they forgive you or not. There's still a lot to gain from apologizing. Now, if it's somebody that you hurt in the past, that's in a relationship in years or whatever it is, and apologizing to them specifically isn't realistic, write them a letter and throw it in the garbage. What happens when you write letters, and I've become a big proponent of writing letters. Literally, I just started doing it about 3 weeks ago. It's amazing. It's really, really good therapy to write letters. Even if it's to yourself. I write my wife a letter every night. I like to write. I write her a good 2 full-page letter. Usually takes me 30 minutes to an hour to write. But what it does is you can have thoughts in your head. You can think about 100 things. I can think about everything I write in that letter. My letter I write to my wife. I can think about all that stuff in about 5 minutes. But when you write it down, you absorb it. Like, you're thinking slower. You slow your thought process down tremendously. And you end up going into far more detail when you're writing it down. And you're reading it as you're writing it. You're thinking about what you're writing as you're writing it. And it's crazy. You end up dedicating legitimately 30 minutes to a single thought, being on one train of thought. And when you're thinking, just thinking in your head, oh, I'm sorry to that person, I'm sorry to that person, you're giving them 5 seconds. You might be giving them 20 seconds, or I don't know, maybe a minute to think about some of the things you've done to someone in your past, or someone else that you want to write letters to, like for my example, my wife. But it really forces me to sit and think about all the things I've done for 30 minutes to an hour every single night. It's neat. It's cool. It hurts a lot. It's your mind goes dark places for sure, because you think of this time that you hurt her and this thing that you said to her, and damn, I wish I could take it back. Like, damn, I wish I had that back. I wish I could relive that and just stop myself, tell her I love her, and give her a giant hug. And how much different our marriage would have been if I had that mindset, if I was that aware of myself, when I was with her. For anyone that hasn't watched any of my previous videos, my wife left me about 3 weeks ago because of emotional abuse. She left me initially about 5 weeks ago. It was a giant blow. I dedicated myself to fixing myself, was well on my way, on the right track anyway. I was really dedicated to fixing myself so I could be the person to her that she deserved for me to be, and so I can be that person to myself that I respect and can be proud of. And then we had a drinking night, and I relapsed and was very abusive to her again, and lost her permanently this time. So anyway, that's kind of a nutshell of where I am, or why I am where I am. And apologizing, what you're doing is just taking responsibility for your actions. That's all. To me, it's an unnecessary burden to carry. If you have all of these people from your past that you've done wrong, whether or not you think about it all the time or really ever, it's still in you, it's still on your shoulders. Like, you've got a half a dozen people or a dozen people, whatever the number is, that you've done wrong to, that are out there thinking that you are this horrible person, this animal, if you will. And it just doesn't feel good, like, we're trying to get healthy. We're trying to get healthy in our minds. We're trying to release our anger, because anger is always a big part of emotional abuse. We're trying to be proud of who we are. We are trying to be God's creatures, the people the person that He envisioned us being, when we were these beautiful little babies. We're trying to get back to those roots, and having a bunch of people that, that you've hurt and, harmed, abused emotionally, verbally, that think you're that way. Sometimes it feels good to let them know, like, hey, I wasn't a total and complete jerk to you, and I'm really sorry. It was unintentional. It was unconscious of me. It wasn't a conscious thing that I was doing, but I acknowledge now, and I realize now that is what I was doing, and that is who you believe me to be. And I'm really sorry for all of the horrible things that I've, said to you and done to you. And I hope that you're very happy, and I wish you nothing but happiness. And I just wanted to acknowledge to you that you are right. I was an abusive person to you, and I'm very sorry for it. And that's it. You don't need a response. You don't need a reply. You don't need to know if they forgive you. You just need to know that you've acknowledged it. You've taken responsibility and accountability for it. And you've let them know that. Probably deep inside, you kind of hope that they say, I'm happy for you. Maybe not say it, but think like, I'm happy for him, to kind of figure it out, and I hope he can be happy now. I guess, I think most of us care about what people think about us to some degree, to some extent. You don't need to hear it, but, it feels good to, it feels kind of good to know, like, people think that you're a really good person and a nice guy. So, and you can't go through your whole life and apologize to everybody, but there maybe some of the more recent ones, maybe some of the ones that, would be open and willing to hear it, to listen. And I did it to three people. The other ones I don't really feel, I probably won't do it. I don't know if I'll write it down and then throw that letter away. I haven't really decided yet. Right now I feel pretty good. Like, as far as that goes, I'm still mostly focused on you know, I'm still struggling daily with how much pain I've caused my wife. It's a horrible, horrible feeling, thinking or knowing how she feels about me, what she thinks about me, how horrible of a picture she has of me in her mind, in her brain, because that's all I've shown her. So, you know, that's all she knows of me, which sucks. It sucks bad. Like, if I would have known, I mean, I guess, you know, it's easy to say, but it just sucks that, you know, someone that you love so much thinks of you as a horrible person. Because we're not horrible people. We're people with a problem. We're people that have a problem that didn't even come from us. It was started 99% of the time when we were kids. That happened, you know, something happened to us, and our problem, you know, the way we protect ourselves, the way we protect our hearts, the way we push people away, all of that is normal human behavior. You just like to think that, you know, it would be neat or nice if there was more help for, not even help, as much as just something for people to be aware of who they are. Like, there just aren't any classes. You don't learn about shit like that in school. How to emotionally handle your anger and things of that nature. You're never taught that in any class in school, but you should be. I mean, it's important. It's very, very important if you want to be happy, and if you want to be a good husband or wife or spouse or partner. It's very important to know how to handle your emotions, how to convey your feelings in a healthy manner, how to express yourself without hurting the other, how to know that it's okay to feel anger. It's just not okay to hurt somebody because of it. You know, just let them know that you're angry and you have some things you need to think about to help you get through it. Excuse me. And, and then take the time to think about it and get through it. But yeah, none of that stuff is taught in any classes. It's taught in life. It's taught by losing someone that you love. That's what teaches you that lesson. That sucks. I wish I could take every person that abuses, their partner aside and just say, like, I freaking get it. Like, that was me. And I didn't know it was me until I lost. And then it was too late. So just don't let it be too late. Do it. Like, if you feel like you're abusing, if you feel like you are treating somebody different than how you want to treat them, then take some time and listen to videos, find a couple books that help you express your feelings in a positive manner, in a constructive manner. It's not macho to treat your wife wonderfully. There's nothing not cool about that. That's just good shit right there. Treating your wife the way you always envisioned the way you would treat your wife. And if you're not doing it, then, kind of think about a few things that we, talk about here, and Google it, or YouTube a few other things. A few other people, Karen McCollum, Austin James, a couple of people that, they're past abusers. And they've overcome it, and now they're happy, and they can live a healthy life. In my letter to my wife tonight, I told her that I would pray to God that He gives me 40 more years of healthy mindset and a healthy, happy life. And I pray to God that He also gives her another 40 or 50 years of a happy, healthy life, because she wasn't perfect. She's also an abuser in certain ways. But I hope that all of mine is behind me. I hope that every day I make steps towards permanently being past all of it, putting it all behind me, and I can spend, hopefully, God willing, I get another 40 years on this earth where I can be someone that I'm really proud of. I can see it now. Like I can see now that I will be able to look myself in the mirror at some point, not in a too distant future, and feel good about myself, and feel good about overcoming my abuse and the way that I treat people on a daily basis, and feel healthy inside, that I've released all of my anger from my past, my childhood, the reason that I became an abuser. And, I've apologized to the people that I've hurt, to kind of release that off of me. And now I'm just aware of all of my actions. Like, I'm aware of how my actions affect other people. And that's the key. You just be aware of how your actions affect other people, how your words affect other people, how the way you express yourself greatly affects other people. And just being aware of that. It's vital to your recovery and to your healing. Okay, we'll end it there for now. I would strongly recommend apologizing to as many. I can't apologize to my wife in person, unfortunately. So every single night I apologize to her in my letters. I tell her how much I love her. I tell her that I will make damn sure that if God ever brings her back into my life, that I will be 100% ready to treat her better than any human being could ever treat her in her life, if I get that chance. Until next time.